It's out here.
The demos.
Merci tambour. Bonjour et bienvenue à la forteresse Louisbourg. Good day and welcome to the fortress of Louisbourg. For people who understand English and are interested in listening to the soldier on my right, Laguerre, to give you a little insight on the soldier, who he is, where he comes from, food, money, clothes. We'll explain his musket and we'll fire it. Pour les Français, si vous êtes intéressés, moi-même, Bassiné, va vous conter l'histoire d'un soldat. J'arrive, mon art, le manger, mon uniforme, expliquer le musquet puis le tirer. So for the people who understand English, over to my right to Laguerre, puis les Français, né moi.
How's everyone today? Pretty good? Okay, basically what you're looking at here is Company French Soldier, 1744. We're at the time of war here, and this is basically the summer uniform. We have a white coat that would go over this, a grey coat that would be a juste corps, but this is essentially it for this time of year. I would be recruited by sergeants who would go biannually to port towns like Rochelle and Rochefort, France, to recruit young fellas 16 years old and up, to bring them over here to help protect France's economic, commercial, political holdings here in the New World. So it would be brought over. A lot of us may be running from justice, maybe going to lose our head or whatever, or spend the rest of our lives in jail, which would be not that much longer. So you'd be recruited, given this uniform. It consists of 2 pairs of shoes, a pair of socks, breeches, 2 shirts, 2 ties, a summer veston, and a cartridge case. In the cartridge case, you'd have up about 9 cartridges. The ball would be in this cartridge case in the cartridge at this time. It'd be 9. You'd have a powder horn for when the 9 ran out. That's more powder, and a bag of musket balls. You'd have a sword, which is a ceremonial piece, just a badge of the soldier, like who's on duty. It's not really for self-defense so much. The bayonet now is for self-defense. It's a 3-sided sphere, leaves a 3-sided groove into your body, which takes a long time to heal, if ever. It attaches to the musket like so, goes on, locks into place. This was a revolutionary device because it would, you could fire the musket with it attached because it wasn't a plug bayonet like they were previous to this. Now, like I say, 3-sided hole would give you a long extension. You could take someone off a horse easily or off a small building, if need be. So yeah, it was pretty crude. It was banned by the Geneva Convention because of its crudeness, and later on it was made to a 2-sided sphere, which still kill you. Still make your life a little bit miserable for a little while till you die, while you would wriggle on the ground. And we'd be given a tricorn hat. This is a 3-sided hat. In a place like this, we have water, ocean water on 3 sides. You usually get a little wind. So if you have a hat like a ball hat like that, it would be gone. This is just the style, which is just fortunate that we have it, because if not, we'd be chasing our hat a lot of the time. Would also be given a musket. This is a Grenadier musket, 1734 model, flintlock muzzle loader. It would have been manufactured in France at the time. I'll explain it a little bit now, but I'll fire it after I get through a little bit more information about the soldier. To fire it, you would take a cartridge out, tear the end off with your teeth if you had any, put some powder in the pan, cover the pan over. Then you take the rest of your cartridge, pour it down the barrel, push the ball and the paper in, and the paper acts as wadding to hold the ball snug. Then you take your ramrod out, and you would pack all that down into the breech, and that would put it all down in the base of the musket, in the barrel. You'd do that using 2 fingers only, because if it went off prematurely, you'd be lucky enough to only maybe lose 2. Then you could be gainfully employed rolling a barrel for someone down in one of the storehouses or flipping fish for one of the fishermen, because you'd be out of the Army, out of the military, the Navy I should say. We're Marines here. Now to fire it, you pull the hammer to full cock because it's on safety. Now you pull the trigger, nothing happens. You pull the hammer to full cock, then you pull the trigger, the hammer flies ahead, the flint here, a piece of stone, hits the frizzen, causing a spark. It ignites the powder in the pan here, hopefully, burns through a small breech hole, sets off the main charge inside. That sets off the cartridge and the powder and the ball, and it has an accuracy range of about 50 yards or 150 feet. I'm not going to show you how it works right now because the flint is only good for probably 20 or 30 sparks, and then they break off and they round off so that they don't cause a spark, which means it won't function. I'm hoping that it's going to function because it's a nice clear day, not too much wind, no rain, so it should be fairly good. Now, soldiers. When they're recruited here for 6 years. They're given this uniform and musket, and they're here. If they're debt-free after that 6 years, they have free passage back to France. Well, of course, it's like our own lives, right? We plan things. We're never going to be debt-free unless something big happens, like when you're gambling with the cards, you win something big, and that's what we hope for too, and that never happens. So we're pretty well here, signing up, putting your X on a piece of paper for another 6 and another 6 and another 6. Now, when we're in here, we're living in the right half of that large building, that barracks. The soldiers would be housed in there, about 3 to a bed, assigned 3 to a bed. 2 would sleep in the bed each night, but there would be 24 to a room, 19-foot square cubicle, 24 men to the room, so you don't really own a square cubic foot of area of yourself. You have a little storage area there, you cook your meals there, you play cards, everything happens in that room where you live. Now when we're here, we're on duty for 1 day, and we're off for 2. So when you're on duty, you do the rotation of the guard, 2 hours on the posting, 4 hours at the guardhouse here, to cut grass, chop wood, do whatever the officer wants you to do, and you're at the mercy of him with no extra pay. Now, when you're off for 2 days, what happens is you work on the walls. There's 2.5 miles of wall around the perimeter of this place. That building was the 2nd largest building in North America at the time. A lot of stone work there, brickwork, carpenter work, slate work, glass work, you name it, it had to be done. And so the soldiers, not all of them are very skilled, so they're hauling wheelbarrows full of mortar and stone. So they're doing all the grunt work to make extra money. So a soldier could make almost a leave a day. Good to see you were listening. It's me, I mean. A soldier could make about a leave a day. Now his military pay would have been 9 leave a month, which was a great pay. You could do a lot with that. You could buy some alcohol, you could do some gambling, buy a little bit of food, buy some other clothing, because remember I said you're on duty for 1 day, you have your uniform. When you're off, you don't wear your uniform to work on the wall, because if you're out of uniform with buttons and holes, you end up on the wooden horse there. With your hands behind your back and lead weights on your ankles to pull your legs out of place. Not pretty. So you have to go to an auction on Saturday and buy extra shoes, like wooden shoes, socks, breeches, shirts, other vests, and whatever you needed to do your extra chores, like, well, wheelbarrow, trowels, whatever you needed to work with. So now you'd make sure you got to the auction to do that. Now the soldiers, like I say, would make the 7 leave, which was great money, but the officers here would take 7.5 of that 9 leaves to leave you with 1.5. So that was leaving you dirt poor. So with that 1 leave and a half that you make as military pay, and whatever day's work you could make to get extra money, whether you were working for the contractors that would work in this place or work in fisheries with the fishermen or in stores, storehouses and that, to make extra money. It's because we all drank, we all gambled, and we all went to the bars. So you got to do it to survive. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move up to the side here, and I'll go through the motions and fire this musket. Hopefully we'll have success, okay? Just come up to the side. I'll ask you not to go on the grass or the step. The step, it's very loud on the ear. Yeah, you have to come off the step. It's louder on the ears. It's a low cover. It'll be a lot more loud on the ears. So yeah. Okay. Luckily I have a few teeth left. Tear the end off your teeth. Prime this pan with the powder. Rub it over. Take the rest of the cherry, pour it down the barrel. Remember I told you 2 fingers on the ramrod in case it was off prematurely. have it ready now on the count of 3. I'll pull the trigger and fire. 1, 2, 3. There you have it.
Very good.
Did the Army give you hearing aids, huh?
As a matter of fact, no.
Thank you.
That was nothing compared to the cannon and many firing in a line. Now, that's it for the life of a soldier. If you have any questions, ask. If you don't,
So you
get on your way.
needed 2 fingers and 2 teeth.
Yeah, you needed at least that, yeah. Be able to